It's your boy Spudcubs here with a little something I don't normally do. I entered a contest for making a fighter aircraft. Now the last time I even entered a build contest was actually my very first From the Depths video in like 2015. The original Metal Gear Rex I made. This time I made one of the best fighter aircraft in From the Depths I've ever seen, which immediately got rejected from the contest, until a certain bit of inspiration led me to, how do I put this, cheese the fuck out of the game. One of my friends, Happy, told me about a plane making contest on Drachnifel's Discord server. If you've never watched Drachnifel, go check his channel out. If you like history, naval engineering, or like old war stuff, you'll probably like his channel. The From the Depths contest wasn't hosted directly by Dracky Boy though. Discord user Imperial Waffle wanted a new fighter aircraft and proposed some sort of public contest for such an aircraft. Waffle's requirements for the plane were a little nuts in my opinion, and in other circumstances I would have just walked away. But more than anything, this was a way for me to compete with my friends. With Happy, Ron, and Sturban, I was in for an amazing competition. A competition to make the best fighter plane ever. That meet Waffle's requirements, of course. So there were 11 requirements for the contest builds. 1, it has to be an air superiority fighter. Okay, simple. Waffle specified it should be a late propeller or early jet style aircraft. I'm thinking like 1950s-ish. That's what I get from that. I basically disregarded that completely since it didn't make much sense to me with the rest of the requirements. You'll see. Number 2, it has to be able to hit at least 175 meters per second. Late propeller, early jet, if you play FTD, that's ridiculously fast for like a propeller aircraft. That's ridiculous. I struggled on this requirement actually. Like I really struggled on it. The first design I submitted to Waffle only went 150 meters per second. And although it met all the other requirements, because it couldn't go 175 meters per second, it just flunked out of the contest basically. I really couldn't get this thing any faster. I gave it a massive amount of thrust, doubling the jet engine power that it had, and it didn't change the speed nearly at all. So obviously the problem had to do with air resistance. Not surprisingly, since the design immediately got rejected, I spent the next 2 hours or so trying to raise the speed up. That is, until I saw Ron's design. This insane Protoss interceptor looking thing goes over 180 meters per second. It almost hits 190 meters per second. And it's all because it has extremely low drag. Those little spikes you see all over it are the lowest drag blocks in the game currently. And that gave me a truly awful idea. This is what I ended up with. Yeah, I really did this. It goes 205 meters per second. No, this wasn't my final design though. It was more of a proof of concept. I sort of combined both designs into a weird hybrid. It has all the maneuverability of the original design, and it goes 175 meters per second, right on the money. Convenient, huh? Requirement number 3 is that the design must cost less than 15,000 resource points. Yeah, I mean that's easy for me with the way I build. This buckaroo costs half of that. They're about 7,500 resource points each. Requirement 4 is it must be carrier compatible, and optionally battleship catapult compatible. I mean, I don't see why any design in From the Depths wouldn't be carrier compatible, but I did make sure it had landing gear, foldable wings, and an autopilot system so you could take off and land extremely easily. Here is a little demo of that. Requirement number 5 is that the design had to have at least a 25-kilometer operational range. Now, Waffle phrased this as 5 map squares, and each of them is about 5 kilometers, so 25-kilometer range. And that's another easy one. At 175 meters per second, it takes just over 2 minutes to travel 25 kilometers, and the jet has more than enough fuel to make the trip, engage in a fight, and fly back with fuel to spare. In fact, with the stupid new fuel and ammo system that's in current FTD, this plane really never has to worry about either fuel or ammo. Requirement number 6 is that the design has to be able to beat Steel Strider's aircraft. I mean, you're talking to the dude who's known as the airplane guy in From the Depths. I think I can handle this one. Even the 150 meters per second version of the plane had zero problems dogfighting Steel Strider's jets. It's fast, it's maneuverable, and it can spam both heat seeker and radar guided missiles constantly while dodging almost anything coming its way. I actually saw a few times in combat testing this jet that it would get a wing shot off every now and again, but it'd still be able to fight and fly pretty well. So I mean, there's that. It's kind of like an F-15. Requirement number 7 is that it must have stable flight outside of combat and evasive capabilities within combat. This plane flies pretty smoothly in manual control, but the controls are very sensitive, so I mean, you can just use the autopilot. Number 8. Now bear with me here, we're almost through. Requirement number 8 is that it must have an armament of at least 2 air-to-air missiles. Flares and other countermeasures are acceptable. Now, I didn't put any countermeasures on board because I didn't think it was really necessary for one. Most things on Neater, their detection isn't very good. They can't track fast, maneuverable targets like this, and any missiles would probably miss. I've seen them hit before, but it seems like it's sheer luck, really. And secondly, I really don't think it's worth it with how expensive missile parts are in current FTD. I don't think flares would have been worth it at all. Maybe someone should make like a flare dispenser instead, because we have all these other parts. We have all these other like ECM jammers and chaff and things like that. I mean, why not have just a dedicated flare dispenser instead? I'm going on a tangent. Let me go back to what we were talking about. Like I mentioned earlier, it does have a set of heat-seeking and a set of radar-guided missiles. That way it can fight both jets and colder targets like Deepwater Guard propeller aircraft pretty well. Requirement number 9, it just says durability optional. Check. Requirement number 10. We're almost there, guys. Functioning AI. Check. Requirement number 11. Last, but kind of least, actually. It's specified as not a requirement, so I don't know if it's really number 11. It's optional. But wouldn't durability optional also not be a requirement? Anyway, Waffle said for the 11th thing, he would like the aircraft to be visually pleasing, which is great because this one is sexy as hell. Yeah, so that's the plane. I didn't really even name it, and I haven't submitted it yet. I think I'm going to leave it up to you guys to name the plane before I submit the blueprint to Imperial Waffle. So I guess I'll pick from the comment section. Maybe you guys can suggest a better paint job than I have on it currently as well. Again, for 7,500 resource points, and this is all in current FTD, like the latest stable update with vanilla physics on it. For 7,500 resource points, this sucker goes 175 meters per second. It has landing gear, autopilot, folding wings, and can kill just about any other fighter aircraft in the game. Not so sure about the bigger aircraft though. That's kind of like if a barracuda fought a killer whale. You can eat all the fish you want, but the whale is definitely gonna eat you. So yeah, don't fight whales, guys. And just for comparison, here's how the plane behaves in Broadside, my From the Depths mod, which includes being on From the Depths version 2.7.4.9 and running my custom physics configuration. I guess the last question to be answered about this new fighter aircraft is, will it blend? Airplane dust. Don't breathe that in. I'd show you the other contestants, but nobody else besides Ron, Happy, and I made planes. Here's Ron's plane again. Happy never posted his plane, so I've got nothing to show you from him. And I don't think Sturban actually made anything. Anyway, the blueprint of the plane's final version, as well as any of my other blueprints that you'd like, are up on my Discord server, link in the video description. If you want a specific blueprint from me and it's not posted there, just ping me and ask for it. I have planes, tanks, boats, helicopters, mechs, and most of everything you've seen here on YouTube or Twitch TV, and more that I haven't shown, including the Flayed God and Thomas the Tank Engine, but I think those are still available on Steam Workshop as well. When events like this happen, I usually post about them in my Discord server, so join if you want to keep up with stuff like that, though it's not too often. Like I said, the last time I personally entered a contest was like Metal Gear Rex in like 2015. Maybe that was even 2014. That was a while ago. It was like my first From the Depths video ever. If you want to help support me making content, just, share it with your friends. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a buoyant day.
The missile knows where it is at all times. It knows this because it knows where it isn't. By subtracting where it is from where it isn't, or where it isn't from where it is, whichever is greater, it obtains a difference or deviation. The guidance subsystem uses deviations to generate